make a foldable. You can use any kind of paper, computer paper, notebook paper, whatever kind of paper you want, but we're going to use a foldable so that we can remember some of our trig stuff for our test. So the first thing you want to do is, if you're holding the paper long ways, you want to take the edge and you're going to fold it down. I didn't do a very good job, but it's going to look like this. And then this little flap here, what you're going to do, this extra piece, if you have scissors, then you can just cut that piece off, but let's see what happens if we don't have scissors. I'm just going to fold it up. And I'm going to make a really good crease with my fingernail. I'm going to crease it, crease it, crease it. Then I'm going to fold it back on the same crease. And I'm going to use my fingernail and make it really good. I'm going to do that back and forth a couple times. And I'm just going to tear it off. That's what you do when you don't have scissors. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that this crease is pretty good, so I'm rubbing that pretty hard. Open it up, and then take the other edge and fold it. And that way what happens is I have a fold and a fold. Then what you're going to do is we've made this before, you're going to take this point and you're going to go to the center, fold it down. Then you're going to take this point and go to the center and fold it down. This point to the center and fold it down. This point to the center and fold it down. Of course, you can pause and go back, whatever you need to do. So now look, I have these flaps. Okay, so I'm going to start out and I'm going to write on top of my flap, SOH CAH TOA. Then I'm going to open that flap, and up here on the flap I'm going to write sine. I'm going to put a blank. Sine of the angle equals O over H for opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine the angle equals A over H. Tangent of the angle equals O over A. Then I'm going to draw a triangle. I'm actually going to draw the hypotenuse there. Then I'm going to come down and do this. I'm going to draw my right angle. Across from my right angle is my H, my hypotenuse. I'm going to circle an angle. From that, across from that is my opposite, and the one that connects to it is my adjacent. Remember, adjacent always connects. Okay, close that flap down really good, turn it. Then I'm going to write to find the missing angle. Then I'm going to write sine inverse, which is sine -1, cosine inverse, tangent inverse. Remember, that's what we use when we're finding the missing angle. Then I'm going to open my flap. I'm going to write myself a little note. If no degree is given, so if the picture or the problem doesn't have a degree symbol, that means that we're looking for the angle. If the instructions say find the angle, then use sine inverse, cosine inverse, tangent inverse. Let's draw a picture. Draw a right triangle. Put a question mark in the angle. We're going to label it 5 and 3. This is hypotenuse. This is opposite. Opposite over hypotenuse goes with sine. So I'm going to sine inverse my opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be 3 over 5. And I sine inverse in my calculator to get that. Round to the nearest degree. That means a whole number. Whole number. Okay. Close that flap. Go to the next flap. Oops. Let's label it. To find a missing side, and then we'll do X on top. Right, multiply. Okay, so let's draw one. We'll say this is 30 degrees. We'll call this X, and we'll call this 10. I'm going to label my sides. This is hypotenuse and opposite. So opposite over hypotenuse is sine. Sine of 30 is opposite, which is X, over hypotenuse, which is 10. So this I'm multiplying 10 times the sine of 30. I'm going to do that in my calculator. I'm going to round to 1 decimal place. There needs to be 1 decimal. Okay. Let me circle that angle so y'all don't forget to do that. Okay, next flap. I know I'm going fast and it's sloppy. To find a missing side, and X on the bottom. We're going to divide. Okay, so let's draw a picture. We'll do 30. This time we'll call this 5 and we'll call this X. Figure out who you have, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. And we're still going to use our SOH CAH TOA. So I know opposite and hypotenuse go with sine. So I know that sine of 30 equals opposite, which is 5, over hypotenuse, which is X. Since the X is in the bottom, then I know I'm going to put 5 in the calculator first. Sine of 30 second. Make sure that goes in first. And we want 1 decimal. Okay, there you go.